Hello, this is Grandma Jan from Red Toad Art Studio, and today we're going to talk about whether to seal or not to seal. Now, I like to seal my work to keep, like this. My glue doesn't always hold the greatest, or maybe I'm not a good gluer. I'm still learning. I'm on the journey of learning how to Mod Podge and do several different styles, and I've been trying to figure out how to use Mod Podge. And when I first started using it, I had to fight the wrinkles. I'm sure if you've done this, you know what I mean by fighting the wrinkles. Your picture looks great when you start out, and you put Mod Podge on, and suddenly it's a wrinkled mess. Now, I would dry my messes partially and then rub out the wrinkles and salvage my pictures. Also, I make sure when I glue a piece down to use one of these scrapers. Now, this is just the kind you get with your stoves in the appliance department, and press down and work out all the wrinkles. And then I also have a brayer. Now, this is an old-fashioned brayer. It doesn't look like the new ones, but it really works. I really like it. And I go over my picture and get out all of the wrinkles I can. And that is still a hint I have. Don't forget this stage of gluing down carefully all the wrinkles. And I also very often turn it over and I braid the back of it. So I like to seal, obviously, so I've kept it this because I like to protect my picture. It gives it protection from falling apart, from dirt and dust and anything else that might fall on it. So I have continued to learn. In some of my first videos, if you follow me, I did those things of brayering and scraping all the bubbles out, but I piled the Mod Podge on. I just put scads of it on, and then I would take my brush and smooth it out somewhat, but it tended to wrinkle, and I would have brush marks. Now, if I wanted brush marks, that would be fine, but I didn't want brush marks. I have found a few tips lately I'm going to pass on to you because you may have that same struggle. Now, I do use Mod Podge, the matte finish. Now, if you want your picture to be shiny, use the gloss finish. And I haven't bought it recently, but they also have a Mod Podge that makes things look antique. I'd take a look at all the different Mod Podges they have in the store. They have several different kinds. But just for this general protecting my pictures, I use the matte finish. Now, I've taken my Mod Podge and put it in a squirt bottle, kind of like those you find ketchup or mustard in. In fact, that's these were bought in the kitchen section. But this really makes the job of applying Mod Podge easier and less messy. And I used to use a regular brush, something like this. Now, you know you don't want to use a good brush in Mod Podge. It will never be the same. And I used my old dilapidated falling apart brushes, and they would get so hard it was like cement on them. And that will still happen. So don't use a good brush. And I have also found out the smoothest thing to put Mod Podge on is one of these foam brushes that aren't very expensive, and you can buy them by the whole bag full. In fact, I need to buy me a bag full. But I have used this brush time after time because I do a no-no with my brushes. After I'm done Mod Podging, I have a container of water that I use for watercolor, but I have several of these. These are great. You can get these on Amazon. and I put it in and just leave it in the water. Now you should never do that with your good brushes because they'll fall apart. But it will extend the life of these foam brushes quite a bit because they don't have much life to begin with. But I have done this time after time and my brush is still going. So let's podge or seal this collage. Don't overuse your podge. That's what I did in the beginning, and it was not a good thing. We want to just put it on lightly. And lightly smooth it on. It doesn't take a lot. Now, if you really wanted to protect it big time, you might consider letting it dry and putting more than one coat on. Be sure there's any edges that are tending to raise up that you get under it and glue them down because this will act like a glue. It is a glue. Something has gotten a little bit on here that was dusty and dirty. I think, yes, I told you I've used this brush over and over. Well, it's falling apart now. So, it would pay me to get a new brush. So, here's a new brush. This one has done, oh, I don't know how many, 1, 2, 3, probably at least 10 collages with this old brush. Now it is falling apart. That's okay because they're cheap. I'm going to throw that away and use my new brush. And see if I can get some of those black specks worked out. That is what will happen to it when it starts to go and it isn't a good brush to use anymore. So watch out for that. You don't want black specks in your work. There we go. Be sure it is smoothed out. And as soon as you finish, drop your brush into some water. And if you podge often, like I do, like every day, just leave it in it. It'll last you several pictures. Cap your Mod Podge. And I keep a miniature fan on my desks, all plugged in and ready to use. It looks like this. It's a little desk fan. And I turn it on my Mod Podge pictures. Now, if I do have any bubbles, which I've noticed here, this crinkle paper, it is tending to bubble. when it starts to dry, I can press those bubbles down. But I notice none of my other paper is causing me that problem, which I used to have problems with. And as it tends to get drier, you can go over it with your brayer, just as a precaution. And you'll find that this dries very smooth. So, get some of those specks off of here. You will want to watch out for that. That's the first I've had that happen, and I should have been prepared for it. And now you're prepared for it. That it will soon begin to break down if you use it and use it and use it. They're not meant to last. But I hope this has given you some help on using Mode Podge. As I learn more tips and tricks, I'll share them with you. But that has helped me a lot. And I have been actually afraid to Mode Podge my pictures in case it's so wrinkled it ruins it. But this tends to work pretty well. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in my next video. And have a great crafting day. Bye-bye for now.